everyone, it's Val again and welcome to my studio. Well, last time, which was my first video actually, I promised to do one on the tools of the trade. So I'm going to be sharing with you today the tools that I actually use to get my projects going. So to get started, there are a few things that you're going to need. I have like a whole bunch of stuff here. So let me just go over the tools that I use in my sewing projects. First of all, we have to create a pattern. And so I have here, it's a whole roll of pattern paper. There are some with this dotted paper, it's called dotted pattern paper, white. That is very good to use, but I just buy my brown paper. I like the way it's thick, and so I hang my pattern. So I like this brown paper. So you can use whatever paper you can afford to get. Secondly, we have markers and pencil. You're going to need pencils to do your marking and markers to finalize your pattern. You will need erasers, and I have these as my pattern weight. You can also go to your local hardware store and pick up some washers. Those you can also use. But I have these pebbles, been traveling with them from New York, and I just love my pebbles, stones. So these are what I use, and they're pretty heavy. This is a tracing wheel. At the wheel section of it, it's like grits, and you use it to mark your transfer a pattern to your fabric, or to mark your patterns, whatever, but you use it in pattern making. You're going to need tape measures. I have 3 different types here. The regular 60-inch tape measure. I also have an 89-inch, and I have 120 inches. So you're going to need tape measure. Let's see what else you may want to need to use. This is an awl. It's like a ice pick. So this awl, you can use it to transfer dart points in your pattern. So it comes in really handy. You may not need it as a beginner to start right now, but eventually in making your patterns, it comes in very handy. Okay, you're going to need paper scissors. Never use your fabric scissors to cut paper. It's not good for the scissors. So you're going to need paper scissors. You will also need, this is the sharpener for the pencil. You will also need measuring tools. So let me share with you the measuring tools that I use. These are only a few of the measuring tools I use. But basically, you need a straight edge. This is a 24-inch ruler. It's 6 inches wide by 24. And if you can see, it has squares in it, inch squares. It has the measurements on both sides. And the best part of all is that it is clear. So when you have it on your project, you can actually see through to see what you're doing. Very handy. I have this other ruler. It's a hip curve, an armhole curve, and a straight edge all in one. So this could be used for all 3. So this part here is the arm curve section, and it also acts as the hip curve. And then there is a straight edge. So it's a 3-in-1. And then you can have other types of arm curve rulers. Here is one, and here is, I think this one is called the French curve. Very handy to have something like this. Is an L square, and when you're doing, for instance, your muslin to create your patterns, this will ensure that your fabric is squared up. So an L square comes in real handy. And let's go to the others. your fabric shear. This is a heavy scissors, very good. You can always sharpen it if it gets dull. And I find that if it drops a lot, then you need to tighten and sharpen it more often, or tighten it. So try to keep your scissors where you don't have to drop it. Accidents happen, but you know, keep it safe. And I have this other one that I love. This is a pinking shear. It looks like, the blades look like alligator teeth. I don't know if you're seeing it, but it cuts your fabric with a serrated type edge. And if you don't have a serger, this is really handy to use as a trimmer for your edges. And I just love my pinking shear. We use seam rippers. This is a very small one and this is a bigger size. These are seam rippers to pick your seams out if you make a mistake. Pins. There are so many different types. There are silk pins and ballpoint pins and all kinds of different pins. Pins with head, pins with no special type of head, just a little metal head. Small pins, long pins, pins. And so with the pins, you need a pin cushion. This one I made. You don't have to go buy a pin cushion if you can just create one. But I made this one. Maybe this is cheap, so you could, maybe $1. They come in different sizes. I have a huge one, and then there is this smaller one. You can also use a magnet. I also have a pin magnet. Have no idea where it is right now, but it's pretty much, you just set the pins on, and if your pins fall on the ground, you have an accident and they all fall on the ground, which happens to me so often, you just use your magnet and it will pick them up, it will find them for you. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, one more thing. Carbon transfer paper. With this, you put it under the pattern on top of your fabric, on the wrong side of course, and you trace your patterns out. So your patterns are transferred to your fabric for cutting with this paper. Carbonized transfer paper. Okay. This is fray check. If you're, sometimes you come across fabrics that fray a lot. As soon as you cut it, it starts to fray. Or in other situations, you dab a little bit of this on and it will keep the frays intact. Fray check. Keep them in check. Yep. This is a seam gauge. It has a little lever. You use this to measure your seam. You set it to the required seam that you need to sew your project, and you set it. You can always use it to measure as you go along so that you keep your measurements right, because if they're not right, your project will not come out the way it should, will not fit. Okay. This is it's a snipper. When you're sewing, to cut your thread off after you've done stitching, if you have a little scissors like this, it does the same job. Glue stick. Who would think glue stick can be used in garment construction? Yes, sometimes you can glue, just put a little on your seam to hold two pieces of fabric together. In situations where you just don't want them to slip, and then you can stitch it, it washes off when you wash the garment. Hand needles. Always need to have hand needles. You can buy the big pack that comes with different sizes, or just a regular simple packet here. You'll need hand needles to do hemmings maybe, or to tack your buttons on. Basting, hand needles come in very handy. And then on to, marking tools. These are chalk, tailor's chalk. Some of them come in the form of like a wax type with color, of course, and this is more of a chalky type. And you can get these in packs of 10, reasonably priced. for your machine, you always need to have bobbins. So you want to pick up some bobbins that will fit your sewing machine. And of course, you do need a sewing machine unless you're going to sew by hand. I think I may do a video on sewing by hand, because I used to do a lot of that when I started out when I was a little girl, and I was determined that I was going to make clothes. I used to sew my clothes with my hand. And up to adult stage, I never had a sewing machine, and I made some fabulous blazers and whatnot. I made clothes for work with my hand. Takes a little bit more time, but it's possible. Then down to our sewing machine needles. I think I'm gonna make a chart and leave it down below in the description box so that you can see what sewing machines needles to use, with what thread is the recommended thread, and maybe the machine. So this is your sewing machine needle. It has a flat side, and your machine instruction will show you how to put it in. But they come in different sizes from, I don't know if there's smaller than 8, but I remember from 8 to maybe 18. Possibly there's a 7, I'm not sure. But 8 to 18. And there are specialty needles as well. Like this one, for instance, is a denim needle. You can use it for heavy fabric like denim and anything of the sort. And the smaller, so the key, oh, I also have this specialty needle. It's a double needle. It has one head, however, and so you insert it in the sewing machine, and what it does is it gives you 2 parallel lines of stitching. So like on the jeans, your regular jeans clothes, you will see two lines of stitching. That needle can be used for that. You can also use it for hemming knit garments, like you do a top and you see that 2 row of stitch at the hem. You can also use that for it. Basically, with using sewing machine needles, the softer, thinner the fabric, the smaller the number of the machine needle that you use. There are silk needles for, like, you know, this silk fabric, very soft fabric like chiffon and so on. But the idea is the thinner the fabric, the smaller the needle. I think that's all for the tools. I think we are ready now to start sewing. So if this is your first time on my channel, please subscribe so that you will be updated every time I upload a video. And I know it's been a while since I did the last one, but I am working hard at making sure that I have these videos coming more often. And so we are getting ready to do a pattern, sew a top, sew a skirt, and we will move on from there. So please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, look for the chart with the recommended needles, threads, and settings, and share with all your friends. Share with anyone you know who wants to learn to sew. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, which will notify you as soon as I do the next one. So until next time, ciao.